tuned into Thorough Black Talk with Tad, Keisha, and Ashe. Every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. Don't forget about our sister station, Constructive Talk Radio, Tuesdays, 8 to 10 p.m.
Good evening, family. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk, where your sister Keisha, your brother Tad, and brother Ashe SJ will be joining us shortly. Hope you all had a great week. Hope you're looking forward to a great weekend. At least you should be, right? Brother Tad always say, every day above ground is a good day, unless the judge give it to you, right?
That's right. Good, unless the judge give it to you, baby.
No, we try to avoid that at all costs. But again, family, yes, thank you for joining us. I'm a little tired. I had 2 shows to do today, show yesterday. It's just been crazy. So I'm just trying to get my win back so we can get started
tonight. Things, doing video shoots.
Everything. So, we got to put our tentacles everywhere, and that's what we do best. So I'm excited tonight because tonight we're going to discuss, have a look back at our history of struggle and voting and protest in this country. Shout out to our Queen Empress Mother, Pam Africa, who called in to show that we were on a couple of days ago, Dr. Filet's show, New Day Liberation, and she gave us a detailed report of what happened in Philadelphia. I don't know if you all know, but where the brother was murdered was that car he was in front of was Sister Pam Africa's vehicle.
Wow.
And they are neighbors. So she came in and gave us a lot of information on what really happened, and I'm going to try to give all of that to you that she told all of us, because already the shenanigans have begun. So I'm excited. We're going to look back at Garvey because, Brother Tad, you and I, we live in New York. We native New Yorkers. And here in New York is one of the toughest places to have a firearm license. And you definitely can't have carry and conceal. And so I want our people to know and understand the history of why that is. It was because they feared Black men and women who were arming themselves. And I have the photographs to prove that, and some of the writings to prove that from those members of the UNIA. As I said, Brother Tad, one of the things I like to do is to go into these archives and pull out these newspaper articles and periodicals, because it is there where you get a greater sense of what was happening at that time. And also you get direct commentary from our great ones. Oftentimes authors, when they write books, they cannot include or do not have access to certain information. But I myself, I love the news articles, because at that time, we had a lot of independent print Black media all across the United States and even in Canada. And so we're going to show you all tonight some of the things that they were discussing, planning, and doing, and what was taking place at that time, and to, if you will, connect the dots with what we're seeing today. Pretty much nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed is how we move, who we organize ourselves and align ourselves with, and our reluctancy to protect ourselves the way that we should. And so we're going to look back at that history. I'm going to show you how Black men and women, our ancestors, came through enslavement, left with nothing, to start with nothing. They built great things. Jealousy and envy of the Yorugu and others played a part in the demise of these communities that built themselves out of nothing. I'm going to show you that they didn't march and throw signs up in the air. I'm going to show you exactly what it is that they did. And we're going to use their words, not ours. We're going to show you what interviews they gave in various articles and, things. And I have found actually the Black Men's magazine. A lot of us know about Garvey writing the Negro World, but very few people talk about him publishing the Black Man's magazine. And I even found a page in it where he gives his condolences to Arthur Schomburg. And so we're going to talk about and see all of that. And I hope you all can begin to connect the dots, because we are just 5 days away from election day, or less than that, actually 3 days away, right, from election day.
4 or 5, yeah. Well, yeah. Wow. Hold up. It's Thursday.
Tuesday, right? Right.
Yeah, 5 days away.
So yeah, we right on the cusp. But I see everybody talking about the election and happen to get out there. I saw people posting their early voter stickers that they voted early, but no one is talking about Black Solidarity Day, which is Monday. It is always the Monday before election day. So we're going to get into that as well, because as we discuss this history, Brother Tad, we're going to connect the dots with Black Solidarity Day and what we must do. And so before you elect someone, you have to unite with yourselves. And that's what Dr. Carlos Russell wanted us to understand. And we're going to talk about him and his life. So I'm trying to get it together, Brother Tad. I see you
got it together.
Better days. What's going on, bro?
Yeah, I'm taking it light, breathing easy, been doing some deep meditation, self-reflection, self-improvement, really putting energy behind the mantra of better days ahead, because we all have these struggles. I spoke to our good brother Dr. Jahi Esau last night. It was a pleasure just to catch up with the brother and speak with him. He'll be on the show soon. He's getting ready to go back to Africa. And I spoke to Sister Marcia today. It was good to speak to her. If anybody's in the community, they know Sister Marcia is everywhere. And it just reminded me that, this COVID has really kept us separated as well. We've been connected together virtually, and thank goodness for technology. However, I do miss the gatherings. I do. It came to one point, I got tired of all the lectures and presentations. Like, yo, we're going to do this every day. But now I really, really miss the family. You know what I'm saying? I miss the camaraderie. I miss being in each other's presence, telling jokes, smelling the good smells of the incense and the oils and all the mango butters. And I miss the shea butter now. Where the incense brothers at? I normally go after, but now I want some incense, I want some oils. But now, it feels real good, to know that we're still out here fighting a good fight. Sometimes we get a little chuckle about other people who are now trying to hijack the Black Liberation Movement, but won't even call it the Black Liberation Movement, because they know to call it that, it has a historical connotation to it that has to be respected and honored, as which we do here, and we're going to talk about tonight. The historical position of the Black Liberation Movement, not to be confused with all these integrationist movements right now. And I'm not mad at anybody fighting how they know how to fight. Look, I study war. I know that you have to have allies, because allies can become enemies and enemies become allies. So I get that part. But I don't want people to lose focus of what it is that we're fighting for. What is the end goal? The short-term goal is our reparations. The long-term goal is sovereignty and separation. Nothing in between. Nothing in between. We're going to do what we got to do while we're here. But the fact of the matter is, it's a long-term goal in the process. I saw a video of Ed Gordon asking presidential candidate Biden, what is his plans for reparations for Black people? Do he believe Black people should get reparations? He said, well, I believe that people should get compensation, but not just Black people, but how about the Native Americans? And Ed Gordon corrected him. He was like, yo, I'm talking about Black people that were directly affected from African slavery, the descendants of African slaves. And Joe Biden went on to talk about the Native Americans. And this is what constantly happens to us. And when we study history, we see time and time again. And the civil rights movement in the 60s, we were very close. We were very close to getting almost everything we needed, you know, with the civil rights movement alongside with the Black Power movement, because they always try to push the Black Power movement to the back. But of course, they murdered Kennedy, got LBJ in there. LBJ said, yo, I'll sign this bill, but you have to include everybody. But everybody wasn't out there getting their head bust with us. So we really have to be mindful, study history, you know, and definitely create a plan for the future, though. Because all of these things that we learn, it's all right to read our story, you know our history. But it means nothing if we're not using the mistakes that we made in the past that help us forge forward in the future. Other than that, we just mentally masturbating and just jerking our own chains. So we really got to be wise about it. Learn the lessons, recognize the pitfalls, but let's just come back strong. It's like football, and I'm going to pass the mic. It's like football, you know, and I'm not a sports fan, but I know when the team is down, the coach calls a timeout, you come back, huddle, regroup, and come with a whole new game plan that's going to be effective. You're not going to keep running the same play, the same play, the same play. You got to come up with a new game plan. And I think it's time for us to huddle and come up with a new game plan so we can move forward and actually win this game. Because the clock is ticking, time's running out, and I don't want to be left in the dust. But I digress.
No, you right and on point, brother. You right and on point. I cannot disagree with anything that you said. That's what we were talking about earlier on Dr. Filet show. It's time to move to the next step. But, you know, we have to be able to commune with each other. As you said, this COVID has kept us separated, at least those who are real organizers, separated. And that allowed other groups, if you will, to come in and take it over and possess it. And we have to put a stop to that because we are not getting anywhere. We're playing games and, you know, just letting any and everybody feed off of our misery, our suffering, our ancestors' legacy. And we can't do that anymore. It's unfortunate. And right now, a lot of people are in fear for another 4 years of Donald Trump. I don't have that fear. You know, one oppressor is no different than the other. They have all disrespected us since George Washington.
That's
Um,
right.
so it's nothing new here. And we can't continue to do the same things, which is one of the reasons why when you look at the UNIA movement, they did things a little bit differently and were more successful in organizing our people. And this is without mainstream media. This is without technology as we know it today. And, you know, he was able to push, well, not just he, but the UNIA, because there were many people involved with getting the message out and gathering membership across the globe. And so a lot of people played a role in that. And we're going to also take a look at some of that tonight. I often see, you know, when people write about the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, they leave out those key players that helped him build the UNIA. So we got a lot to discuss. And again, I can't disagree with anything that you said. But as we entered this arena tonight, we talked about all that is going on in Philadelphia right now. Another young black male murdered in the middle of the street in front of his mother and his wife, who is 9 months pregnant with his child. And when I saw the footage, and I'm not going to play it here tonight, I think everybody has seen it. If not, you can view it in your own time. When I saw the footage and I saw his mom running behind him, and the brothers in the community who were telling the officers to back down, because everybody know him, everybody knows he has this sort of mental defect, and they are used to it and know how to handle him. As a matter of fact, I believe from Sister Pam Africa's testimony is that the family initially called the ambulance. They did not call for police. They called for an ambulance, and police showed up. And as you saw, these two Caucasian officers who are bouncing around like bobble doll heads, not sure what to do, how to do, and just open fire and 14 bullets into this young man, and in front, broad daylight, in front of his mother, and just did not care. But I also paid attention, Brother Tad, to the scene, as things were developing, the community began to come out, and people were shouting and frustration and all of that. But, we got to know how to deal with these officers. You have to understand that these officers are breaking the law in their approach, often. And you have to know what the policies where you live are. A lot of these officers go against their own penal codes. And in particular, if you're in an environment and the officers do not follow that protocol, you have a right to take him down. And a lot of us don't know that, and we refuse to even learn. So, hopefully we can get more involved in that. I want to give a special shout out before I move on to all of our viewers who come in every week. We truly appreciate you. Appreciate you sharing the information that goes out every week on this broadcast. We want to also give, I like to, and I know my brothers would agree with me, I want to give a special shout out to those who are listening around the world. Our number one market outside of the United States is Nigeria. Last week, actually, South Africa surpassed Nigeria as far as our viewers are. But Nigeria, South Africa, Trinidad, the Netherlands, the UK, Kenya, and Jamaica. Of course, here in the United States, we appreciate all of you tuning in and sharing this information, because it's not easy to come up with what we need as a thermometer to discuss with our people on a daily basis. And so we have to pretty much play it by the temperature of the climate that we're in. And so we appreciate all of you guys for doing that. I want to give a special shout out again to Empress Filet, Dr. Filet, and New Day Liberation Radio. This week, she has been working tirelessly, educating our people on programs that she is working on. In fact, getting our sisters involved in self-defense. Sisters, you need to be more involved in your protection. A lot of you are single. A lot of you are with children, and you are the first line of defense, for your family. And when you become squeamish about using weapons or firearms, or learning how to use a firearm, or keeping a rifle or shotgun in your residency, wherever you may be, or however you choose to protect yourself, you have to do that. Because now, as you see, people are rolling up into your house and killing you. It's just crazy. But my brother Tad, give me your thoughts on what you saw with our young brother Walter out of PA, who recently lost his life.
I mean, I felt like everybody else who witnessed the video, it's more of the same, and it's sad that I'm almost numb to it, because how many times are we going to see it? And it is unfortunate. I'm glad that you cited that, the family called the ambulance, not the police officers, because I get tired of constantly hearing more training, and it never solves the problem. Yeah, we need body cameras, and it never solves the problem. It never stops them from murdering us. So I honestly am of the position that we truly have to organize our own police force, just like other communities do, that we're the first line of defense, so that you can call you can call the ambulance. However, we will show up before, you know, the police officers show up. And the police officers respect our position that we are the community patrol and we have it under control. You know what I mean? Because as a parent, I can't imagine losing your child or even witnessing losing your child. And now that I'm of age, that I have grandchildren, everything I see is through the lens of a parent and a grandparent. Since now my children are adults, even though they'll always be my babies, I still see them as my babies. But now my babies have babies, so I look at things a little different, you know. So every time I see a young brother or sister murdered, now I'm at the position of a parent. How would I feel as a parent, you know? And it's heart-wrenching, you know, for that woman to see her child murdered when she did all that she could to jump in front of the police and tell them no, 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 where everybody was trying to stop the police. Like, don't shoot them, don't kill them. And it's, you know, it's just upsetting.
It is. It's crazy, you know. And like I said, you know, it's really close to home because that was right in front of the house of Pam Africa. You know, when he fell down in front of that vehicle that you see, that's Pam Africa's vehicle.
And see, Pam Africa, and not to cut you off, but that queen has been fighting this fight for decades. For those who don't know, she's one of the few surviving members of the MOVE organization who had they block bombed in Philly. Because, you know, we get a lot of new listeners who don't understand the magnitude of what we're dealing with, or even the caliber of freedom fighting that people like Pam Africa and others who bless us with their presence and their thoughts and conversations, who they are in this Black liberation struggle, you know. So when you say Pam Africa, for those who don't know, the Queen been fighting for decades, longer than a lot of people been alive.
Facts. Facts. And shout out to her husband, Brother Raza Khan. You know, y'all stay strong where you at. And my sister, when she called in to Dr. Filet's show, she was furious. You know, they had a meeting because things erupted rather quickly. And they had a meeting at excuse me, a local church. And she said right out the gate, the shenanigans started. And Pam, you know, she never bites her tongue.
I was about to say she's not the one to play with.
No, she doesn't bite her tongue. And you know, it really bothered me because it could have been her. She could have been stepping out during that time, and one of those bullets could have hit her, you know, or Brother Raza Khan. So, you know, for the Philly family out there, stay strong and hold your head, you know, regroup and do things that matter. Do things that's really going to shut things down. Like boycotting. We coming up on Black Solidarity Day. Nobody should be buying nothing in the city of Philadelphia. Nothing. Nothing. I don't care who owns the business. Nothing. Because even Black-owned businesses, you have to now open your mouths. If you want us to support you, you have to support the community. And I'm talking to all Black-owned businesses right now. You can't be silent anymore. You have to protect your consumer base. If we are your consumer base, then you have to protect it. And you have to understand that there should be no shopping on Monday at all. And one day of not buying nothing is not going to kill y'all. You know, you can't continue to get out there and throw temper tantrums and think that anything is going to change. This Yarugu ain't playing with none of us. None of us. And as I go through the history and show y'all tonight these newspaper articles going back to the 1800s on how they did with Black people and treated Black people until Black people got together and formed their own political parties, formed their own organizations, kept white folks and any other folks outside of their organization. They were successful and they moved quickly. In just a 50-year period, they built sustainable organizations. They built political parties. They built economic powerhouses with their own communities. And this is coming out of enslavement, with nothing. No modern technology as we know it today. How did they do it? How do they do it? Tonight we're going to give you the answer. How did Garvey do it? How did he garner over 1 million followers? What did he do when no mainstream media, no technology as we know it, have over 1 million members worldwide? And I'm going to show you tonight how he did it. And I'm going to see if you got the balls to do what he did. We're going to see tonight. Brother Ashe SJ is in the building. How you doing, King?
Yeah, what's the word, fam? What's good, man? Peace, man.
Peace,
Yo,
peace, brother Ashe.
Thorough black talk and full effect, man. Just to jump in on that topic you was talking about in Philly, man. I think the brother's name was Walter Wallace Jr. You know, I was talking to my brother Tad over the weekend, man, and this is a testimony of, you know, what we've been saying on our show for a very long time when it comes to policing our own communities. You know, if we really had a real community, you know, where we were really looking after each other, then we wouldn't have to worry about calling the police, you know, because these police officers, we see time and time again that we call them thinking that they have our best interests in mind. And what happened? You call a police officer, the situation end up getting escalated. I thought they supposed to have training on de-escalating situations. And it seemed like they escalate in the goddamn situation. So now you got somebody running around with mental issues, or they maybe they just looking for attention, or they need some healing or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, the police come on the scene with it one way and leave with it in a way worse situation than it was. So it's like they creating problems, you know? And if you look in the video, them police officers were scared to death. So I thought well, I know here in New York, they call them New York's bravest, right? Ain't that the name of their slogan? Because fire is New York's no, New York's bravest is fire, right? So right. New York's finest. Well, whatever. God damn it. I'll tell you, they don't seem brave to me at all. You know what I'm saying? They don't seem brave or fine. God damn it. Ain't nothing fine when they come. You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy, man. And I was telling my brother Tad too, you know, last Saturday I was on my block out here in Brooklyn, and some dude came through, man. He was bugging out. He was like walking up to maybe 3 or 4 different people that was just chilling on the block. One side of the block, across the street, the other side of the block, walking up to them and like starting, like talking crazy, like he was trying to start a fight or something like that. You know, we don't know if he had mental issues or he just got out of prison. He had something to prove, whatever the case is. I'm not sure, but he was going crazy. So when I came out the crib, I had heard that he was talking, he was like kind of violating, talking disrespectful to some sisters that was out there. So the sisters had told the brother. So when I came out the house, I didn't know what was going on, but another one of my brothers was out there and he heard about the story. So as soon as the crazy guy that came on the block went to the other group, he broke a glass bottle on the floor. My man said, nah, we ain't having that. Went right up to him. Handled that. I ain't even gonna say what he did. I ain't gonna incriminate my brother, but you know, we got to start punching people in the face, man. And then we also got to start, you know, holding people accountable and making sure we hold our family down in situations when it come like this. Because you go call the police, the only thing that's gonna happen is the situation is gonna get worse than it was before. Either if somebody don't get murdered, somebody gonna get arrested. And for something like that, we should be able to control our environments and control our situations in our community. I mean, this is the place we live. We already heard that they said they knew how to deal with it. Well, if they know that he has mental illnesses and they know how to deal with it, why did anybody pick up the phone in the first place and call the police? Because you know, when the police hear somebody that has a mental illness and then they got a knife in their hand, the first thing they thinking to do is shoot them. You know what I'm saying? Eliminate the target, eliminate the threat. Because now it's not about being a threat to the community. That's not what the police is coming for. It's about you being a threat to the police officers. Because the police want to go home at the end of the night. Every time they put on their uniform and they put on their badge, the only thing they thinking about is taking it off at the end of the goddamn night. Don't get it twisted, family. they looking forward to when they could take that off and go sip their little beer or whatever, you know, and relax. That's what their main objective is. Their wives, their children, they'll tell them that in the morning. Make sure you come home, right? You see it in movies and TV shows all the time. Make sure you come home. Make sure I see you again. That's what they tell police officers. So this is the mentality that they have when they go out of their house for work. Make it home tonight by any means necessary. So them police weren't looking at him as a threat to the community or to people that was around or anything like that. They was looking as a threat to themselves and their goddamn lives. That's why they was fidgeting, looking all nervous, reaching to pull out their gun, their weapons and all of that. But these supposed to be fine police officers, you know? So, and they supposed to have all of this training, you know? So these are the things we have to remember, family. Please remember, be very careful when you are calling 911. And even so, like you said, sis, the ambulance was actually the one. They called 911 for the ambulance, right? But goddamn, we're going to have to start getting a direct number to these hospitals or something, you know, because it's like when you call 911, even these people that the 911 phone operators, they already have a mentality in their mind. Because this is a job to them. They train, but it's literally a job. They hear 1,001 calls every single day. So you can't tell me there's not a level of desensitization when it comes to them. You know, they hear this all the time. They got to remain calm and do this. But what kind of mind are they operating out of? You know, with these 911 operators, if they freaking call for an ambulance and then they send a police. How often does that matter? You know how many times in the hood I've seen people call 911 and a goddamn fire truck come before the police come? The fire truck will come before the police come. And they say, oh, that's just what they call it. Like they have to do that. You know, it's something that they have to do. They send a fire truck regardless of what the situation is. Yeah. So how the hell the police come now before the goddamn ambulance come? If you would think the ambulance should be the first thing to come, right? If they say somebody hurt or something like that. But then again, that makes me think like if the guy he had mental illnesses and he running around with a knife, what the hell you calling the ambulance for anyway? You know, he ain't hurt. He is not hurt. You know, so this is, I don't get the logic of some of our people.
When people have mental health issues, they have to call the ambulance because it's a medical condition. You know, mental wellness it's a medical thing. And sometimes that's why the fire department come first, because they're trained in CPR and how to deal with these things. And as an alternative to the police, because, you know, the police, only thing they want to do is, like you said, arrest people or kill somebody. And that's why it got deferred to the fire department or the ambulance to come, you know, when you have a situation like that. And to your point, unfortunately, the police got there first, and we see how that ended. Because had the ambulance got there first, or even the fire departments, who's a medical team themselves, they're trained to deal with people with medical situations. The police, I don't know what kind of training they get, because it's somebody always end up dead when you call them. Whether it's somebody calling somebody with mental health issues having an episode, or whether it's a routine traffic stop like Sandra Bland, somebody always end up dead. So that's why they send the fire department and the ambulance ahead of the police now, because even local government know that some of these cops just ain't wrapped too tight. You know what I mean? So they show up first. Chances are somebody's going to die. Hence the brother Walter Wallace. Peace be upon him. It's just crazy.
But my thing too, Tad, is like what I'm talking about is like when somebody that's mentally ill is wielding a knife, the ambulance ain't going to disarm somebody wielding a knife. That's not their job. You know what I'm saying? So mental health, yeah, I understand that they got to call somebody for that. But to eliminate the threat, if we're going to police ourselves, the ambulance ain't going to do that. So the logic to me is still flawed. What I'm trying to say is people in that community should have got together. If they was talking to when the cameras came about how they know how to handle the situation, they should have handled it. They should have rushed the brother, took the knife out of his hand, restrained him, and then handled it however they decided to handle it. But the ambulance wasn't going to do nothing. They wasn't going to restrain and take the goddamn knife from them. So you automatically know the only people that's going to do that is the police. But when they do that, they not going to restrain them. They going to kill them. You know, so these are the things that we got to think about, fam. And like, we have to be willing to if we trying to really build a community, we have to take responsibility over it. You know, and this is what I'm talking about. So shout out to my brother. Like, we can't tolerate certain things in the neighborhood. You know, we have to hold people accountable. And when you hold people accountable, that also entails you putting yourself on the line. You know, you being willing to put your body and your reputation and everything else on the line for the greater good of the community. And the problem is a lot of people are not willing to do that. They willing to come outside when it's cool to listen to music and drink Henny and, you know, eat barbecue food. But when it hits the fan and it's a challenging situation, are you still going to be there? And until we ready to rise up to these occasions, then we really not going to be ready to have a real community, because that's what it takes, man. So, you know, I mean, it's sad that this happened, you know, and, you know, the media is going to put their spin on it too, because I look at the other side of it, like subliminally, subconsciously, what is it doing to us when we see this? You see the news, you see the article, then you look at it, right? Then they put the headline, Black man shot, murdered by police. You like, damn. Then you look at it, you open it up. The first thing you see is him wielding a knife like this. You like, oh, so subconsciously, they feeding you, getting you hyped up, but then they also taking it away from you. Because when you see him wielding a knife, the average Black person is going to be like, oh, man, he deserved it. Oh, man, he wielding a knife, so that's why they shot him. You know how many sick people we done heard in our neighborhoods, Black people that look like us say sick-ass comments like that, like, man, he shouldn't have been wielding a knife. He shouldn't have did this and that. Yeah, but if he's mentally ill, then that means that we have to handle it. It's a delicate situation. We have to be extra sensitive about it if we want to de-escalate a situation in the best interest of Black people, of our community. You know, but other people don't think like that. Some people that look like us is just like, man, arrest them. Some people think we all criminals. Some people think we all up to no good. You know, so, I mean, this is a sickness that we're dealing with our people, man. But subliminally, like, we also have to pay attention to that, man, because they desensitizing us, making us think like, man, we deserve it. We deserve to get murdered by the police, you know? And more every day we seeing people adapting and adopting these mentalities. Like, Black people, like, we are ourselves, we not no good, you know, or we deserve these things, man. And we really got to wake up and realize who's putting us in a situation. Who was the one who even made this brother mentally ill? You know what I'm saying? Who made this brother mentally ill? The system, the environment, the toxins, the lack of not having the food that we have. For that brother even being here in freaking America. You know what I'm saying? The brother is mentally ill. You know, the brother is not getting the special needs that he really needs, you know? I mean, the health insurance is crazy here. You know, like, it's so many different levels to the system that contribute to people being mentally ill. And then when you get a mentally ill person or somebody with a disability, then we looking down at them. America is looking crazy at them. Well, if you ask Ashe, all goddamn Black people is mentally ill to some goddamn level.
Yeah,
we are. And that's the thing we don't want to talk about. We all got some level of mental illness. Sometimes we all think and we sit back and we like, yo, goddamn. It might be a little level. We might be like, I said that out loud, damn. Or on a larger level, you're like, damn, I know I shouldn't have did that. Some actions you wish you regret. But what contributes to that? Do we actually sit back and reflect, like Brother Ty said earlier? Do self-reflection, meditate, focus on self-improvement, be like, yo, why did I do that? What's the reasoning behind that? You know, what's the trigger? What makes me turn up or you know, cut people off or, you know, just be rude to people for no reason? Like, what's the trigger behind that? We don't sit back and devote enough attention to that either. You know, so all of us got some kind of level of mental illness. And if you leave it to these devils, they gonna shoot all of us. So if they shoot one, you know, that's how we got to treat it. We treat it like they shooting all of us, man. So even if he had a mental illness, man, yo, we, like I said, my solution, we have to start dealing with this on our own terms, family. We got to be very reluctant to call the police. We need that needs to be a very last resort, if even that. But we fully have the capacity to police ourselves, to not even police. I don't even like saying that word, to care for ourselves and take care and uplift our communities, man. We have the ability to do it. It's just that, are you willing to do it? You know, are you willing to put yourself on the line, sacrifice yourself for the greater good of the community?
And you know, it's dope that you say that, because I remember that's how I was raised, you know, and it wasn't even highly organized. When you went to a neighborhood, you just knew where you were, because when we came up, you didn't know one person, you knew the family. I wouldn't just know Sister Keisha. I would know her siblings, her parents, her aunts, her uncles, her cousins. You knew the family. Like, you know, like I know a lot of Sister Keisha's relatives, you know what I'm saying, without even knowing that I knew them, because, you know, that's how far back it goes when we came here. Even during our enslavement, you know, when a new child was brought onto the plantation, we cared for that child as if it was our own, because we knew we were all we had. Anytime somebody new came on the plantation or was sold off, you were always regarded as family. And it was only until, I would say, modern times, I would say the 60s and 70s, during the era of black exploitation, because I'm not gonna act like we never had issues, period, as black people. That would be a straight lie. But as a community, we've always looked out for one another. And it's just so unfortunate, because now it's almost like we're the lone voices in the wind, trying to tell our people, practice Sankofa, come back to your roots. You know, come back to where we can take care of each other. Like, you was in Ghana, Ashe. True or false? Did you or did you not see little children walking through villages by themselves without a care in the world?
All times of night.
All times of day and night, you just saw little children just walking down the road in the village without a care in the world, because people knew who that child belonged to, and that child was cared for by any and everybody. Just like how we was brought up, Sister Keisha. Remember, we were allowed to go to the store and buy cigarettes and beer. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't even read. We just had a note to take to the guy at the store, and he'll tell you what to get. That's how small we were. But our parents knew that we were protected. Nobody was going to bother us, because everybody was looking out. Oh, that's such and such child. That's such and such. Don't mess with them. But now we've become so individualized and so isolated in our thinking, because the way everything has been sold to just an individual. I remember growing up, we shared a phone. We had 6 apartments in my building, right? The building I grew up in had 6 apartments. And my family had 4 of the apartments that I can remember. I was told that we had 6 of the apartments. But I can remember coming up, we had 4 apartments in that building, and 1 house phone belonged to my great-grandmother. And everybody shared that 1 phone. If somebody got a phone call, she tapped on the radiator. And a certain amount of taps let you know what apartment she's tapping for, because we were on top of each other and all that stuff. You know, it was a community within the building. So once we left outside, we're on our block, where I knew Mr. Nixon lived across the street, Mr. Dave lived next door, Mr. Dudley, like Mr. Pinkston lived down the block. Like, we knew the men on the block. There were grown men in every house on the block. You know, now things are topsy-turvy, and to your point about the mental health issues we have, we know who has done this to us, removing the men out the home, leaving the women and children to fend for themselves. So it's just crazy, because that's the thing we got to get back to. And that would give some brothers some of the courage again, knowing that brothers got your back. Because I kid you not, I just remember Mr. Nixon was an older, dark-skinned man with gray hair and horn-rimmed glasses, but he was like the chief of the block. Always smile, always cordial, but everybody know Mr. Nixon had a 38 that he had no problems with letting go. I saw him use it before. I kid you not. Mr. Nixon stood in his gate like this and just looked up and down the block. And that was before crack was heavy on the block, so you ain't have too much crackheads. Maybe some dope fiends nodding off, but dope fiends, they have sleep. They just walk in sleep. They not like crackheads. Dope fiends just want they fix and they nod off. But crackheads, you know, in the neighborhood changed, you know, and the men were moved out the home. You know, Mr. Nixon passed on. You know, peace be upon him. But this is how I was raised. All these things that we say we need as a community, we once had. And we could get it back, because some of our people act as if, like you were saying, you know, some of our people don't even believe we can do it. And that's because they don't know that we even had it. You know, I was raised right on Fulton Street, Clinton, Washington train station. And I remember all that was black stores. All that was black stores. You had one or two Arab or Spanish stores, but for the most part, the lawyer was black, the insurance company was black, the dentist office was black. Everything was black. The tire shop, the candy store, the video game store, the video game rental spot, all that was black owned. And that was right here on Fulton Street. I'm talking about in the 80s, not the 60s, not the 50s. I'm talking about in the 80s. Within a lot of our generation, a lot of us was there. So we can definitely get it back, but we got to have laser focus and stop being distracted by other people's plight. Stop talking about this feminism stuff and stop talking to this macho machismo stuff that we don't need women. Like, that's the most asinine stuff I've ever heard. You know, women talk about, oh, black men are the oppressors of they're the white men of black people, and black men saying, oh, it's because of our sisters why we in these conditions. Nah, I always put the blame where it belongs, because all of us are a victim of this aggressive system, you know. But I digress. Sister Keisha, anything you want to add to that real quick?
No, y'all laid it out perfect. But you know, to get that back, and that's one of the things, you know, right now, y'all, at least in New York City, your community board meetings are now virtual. All right. And you guys could figure out where you live, find out your community board number, and start paying attention to these meetings. The reason why I do it is because, as you brother said, you know, we looked out for each other. And that's one of the things I was explaining earlier on Dr. Filet's program. Shout out to her, she's watching. But we looked out for each other. But now, you know, we can gain employment through that, right? Because we already have a serious problem with unemployment. And there is a lot of grant money that is being thrown around. You know, remember back in the days, Brother Tad, millions and millions and millions of dollars was given to Curtis Lewa with the Guardian Angels.
Guardian Angels, yes.
Right? So why can't we get those funds again? And that's because, you know, those people, unfortunately, as a community, we are not involved enough. So you get these people who come out of nowhere, sit on community boards and claim to be representing your voices. You know, that's not the case here in East New York. I know who the community board members is. Whether I agree or disagree with them or not, I know who they are. But you have, like in Bed-Stuy and now in Brownsville, now seeing Harlem, all of these people on these community boards, where the hell they came from? Because they're moving and shifting dollars around to keep the status quo, because believe it or not, they want the aggression to continue for two reasons. One, they want to be rid of you. And two, they want the area in which you live. So yes, they want to see that aggression continue. But we say we want those dollars, because let's say, for example, if Brother Tad, Nashe, and myself are allotted $5 million from Community Board 5, I could easily come up with 1,000 brothers and sisters to pay to protect our community.
That's right.
In 24-hour shifts, I can get it done. So we're going to have to be more proactive in that, because we can kill two birds with one stone. And this is no big feat. As I said, we're going to go through the history. I'm going to show you how our ancestors did it. You know, we have to, as Brother Ashe said, hell, everybody is mentally ill, especially Black people, because we live this duopoly anyway. You know, you got to change the mask of who you are when you walk outside your door, how you interact with the world, how you interact with your employers, you know, educators in your children's school. We have to turn on and switch off, switch on and switch off. And sometimes when we do that, we don't even know what the hell we're doing, because believe it or not, brothers, Black people don't even know what Black culture is, to be honest with you. You know, I got adult people today who don't know anything and just learning about their history, and they're in their 40s. It's a good thing. But this is where we're at right now. You know, one of the things that the UNIA movement and other movements did not have, The problem is the constant infiltration on the breaking down psychology of the black man, woman, and child. Right now, it is a 24-hour operation. TV is on 24 hours a day. The radio is on 24 hours a day, right? You got social media networks at the tip of your fingers, 24 hours a day. They did not have to deal with that. So that's one of the things that, helped them to become cohesive, because they had a common goal. No matter where they were, everybody was catching the same hell. They just came out of enslavement. And so they were used to clinging on to each other for survival purposes, if anything. And then, as my brother said, when that crack ever came, it crushed a whole lot of black families. So I don't want to hear no crap Joe Biden talking about now, because when his son was out there using drugs, cocaine, crack, whatever the hell it was, as President Trump said, I don't know, but I follow the president. The president said he was a crackhead, and that's what I'm saying. So while our people was getting their heads busted in, thrown behind bars, having a family split up, families destroyed, his family was whole and intact. So now when I see these black politicians talking about a sensitivity towards the abuse of drugs, where was your lip service back then? And a lot of these politicians, we keep voting them in because of name recognition. And you don't follow none of the history, none of the policies, nothing that they've done. You know nothing. And that's sad. That's sad. So we're going to have to change all of that, because, the war is amped up. The war is amped up because now we don't have the protection of one another. Neighborhoods are gentrified. Whole states are gentrified. You got part of your family live in Virginia, the other part live in Philadelphia, another part live in South Carolina, another part moved to the Caribbean or whatever. So, you have this division, even though we have technology that should keep us closer together. So we're going to get into that, like I said, brothers. And shout out to everybody who's watching. Like I said, I always want to give a shout out to our viewers, Brother Ashe, because our numbers are constantly changing. Right now, the number one demographic, or the age group of those viewing Thorough Black Talk, is between the ages of 24 and 54. The biggest demographic being ages 35 to 44 who view. As I said, we appreciate all of you who watch across the globe. In South Africa, some of you are tuned in now. Nigeria, UK, Uganda, Jamaica, Ghana, Trinidad, Tobago, Netherlands, and Kenya. Shout out to everybody in the ATL who's watching in St. Louis, in Tampa, Florida, in Bmore, Philly, Chicago, Houston, Washington, D.C., and Dallas. We truly, truly, truly appreciate you. But we about to get into the thick of it if you brothers is ready. Y'all ready?
I'm ready, sis.
Because as I said, Monday is Black Solidarity Day. I've been hearing so much about vote. We gotta vote. We gotta vote. Vote. All this voting, and nobody talking about Black Solidarity Day that comes before Election Day every year. So I don't want anybody from this day forward to ever forget when Black Solidarity Day begins. It is always the first Monday or the Monday before Election Day. And it was founded by our brother here, Dr. Carlos Enrique Russell. He was an ambassador, a visionary, historian, literary artist, professor, Brooklyn College, Medgar Evers, even upstate New York. He was supposedly the best in his field. He taught at DePaul in Chi-Town. Shout out to Chi-Town. But this is the father of Black Solidarity Day. And he came up with this, I'm going to call it a holiday. We're going to call it a holiday.
That's right.
For Black people to get together, to organize themselves and think about how they were going to move politically and economically. And every year they're pushing election day to you. But no one talks about Carlos Russell and the importance of Black Solidarity Day. I believe, a brilliant presentation he did many years ago when he was at Brooklyn College. I attended that presentation. Peace be upon Sister Ollie McLean, who gave information, and I just happened to go. But he was talking about how we have to reconnect with our ancestors. Shout out to Dr. Baruti in the book Kabuka. He really tries to get you to connect with the suffering of your ancestors. And so tonight, we're going to go through a little bit of that. You know, here is our family on a plantation in Georgia, Cockspur Island, Georgia. For all my Georgians out there, I guess you guys might know where this is. But here you have an entire family outside of their slave quarters. And mind you, this is just before the emancipation, right? Here you have a group of families in one slave quarters, right? And they got to sit here and pose for a picture, even though they don't want to. They don't have a choice or a right to do so. When they told to come out and sit for this photograph, they had no choice but to do so, right? Here you have, just during the end of the Civil War, you have a soldier right here who was assigned to protect these brothers and sisters who were newly freed, if you will, Africans. And look, with nothing, they have nothing left out there. Oh, well, too bad. As a matter of fact, a lot of them, even when they walked off the plantation, were being re-enslaved, right? Re-enslaved. Here you have some free brothers and sisters who were sitting on a dock, just told to go. Where they going to go? With what? Miles and miles and miles away from who they are, to just go. And we don't like to remember these things. And this is what Carlos Russell said. We have to sit and remember and reflect. You shouldn't be shopping. Nobody was shopping for them. Nobody was giving them anything. Here you have a family in the cotton fields of Savannah, Georgia, where my great-grandmother comes from. Just out of the cotton fields. Why should we be shopping on Monday? Why can't you hold your dollars for your ancestors? Huh? Even when our brothers out here mining gold, right? It was a big gold rush. They had to worry about their lives. Nobody told you that we were out there trying to get it right out of enslavement. They wasn't buying up everything that they could find. Right? You still had, as I said, people who were trying to re-enslave our brothers and sisters. And here's a reward for one of them. You mean to tell me you can't hold your dollars for a day to fight oppression, especially when you ain't ready to fight? Here was a young slave brother. Civil War. Could you imagine this child entering the Civil War to fight for his freedom and yours? Never let anybody tell you they gave us anything. It was young brothers like him who gave you your freedom. All of you immigrants who come to this country, children like him fought for your freedom. This is a fact. Here you had two brothers escaping, running for their lives. The article said before they were murdered, they had to pose for this picture. That's why I got to get back to these archives. I got to get back because there's so much information. Here you have our brothers and sisters, our brothers rather, armed, fought for our freedom. Now, you were just enslaved. And here you have a president come to you, the same president that kept you enslaved, now comes to you and say, we need you to help us fight. I don't want to hear not a goddamn thing about no immigrants. All of you owe us. Look at this brother. infantry corporal. He got that revolver to the chest, though. Because a lot of our brothers, believe it or not, if they made it home alive, a lot of them broke into these armories and got firearms to arm these newly enslaved Africans, our ancestors, who we refused to hold our dollars for 24 hours. Look at what a bale of cotton, huh? Look how heavy this is. And you got this wicked beast in the middle. And you can't hold your dollars for a day? That's shameful. You ain't ready for freedom. You ain't ready for freedom at all. We're going to move a little bit further because I wanted to get to the UNIA, right? And this is a ticket. What does it say? The Black Star Line, February 28th. This is right out of enslavement. We just kept pushing forward. Regular freight and passenger service to and from West Africa, the UK and the continent, the Mediterranean, the US and Canada and elsewhere. This is the mindset of our people. This is where we wanted to go. We didn't sit there and wait for somebody to do something for us. A vote didn't do this. Brother Garvey came up with many means of communication. One of them being this magazine right here, The Black Man. A lot of people talk about the Negro world, but nobody ever talks about this magazine right here, The Black Man. And if you can get hold of some of these articles and periodicals and magazines, please read them. I got this one right here, and he's talking about Joe Louis. When Joe Louis first fought Max Schmeling, and how Joe Louis was weak in the beginning. But Joe Louis started to know and study his history. Let me see if I can expound and make this a little bigger. Joe Louis began to study his history. And in studying his history, he put the Black community on his back. And this is what Garvey writes about here. And right here in this little corner, I want our brothers and sisters to see this. Garvey wrote about Arthur Schomburg. He said, passing of a great man. It is with deepest regret we have learned the death of Arthur Schomburg, the celebrated Negro scholar and curator of the Division of Negro Literature, History and Prints of West 135th Street Public Library, New York. Our brothers and sisters were working together, learning from each other.
What's there now? 35th.
Say that again, brother.
No, they said 135th. That library is still there, but in front of it now is the Arthur Schomburg Cultural Research Center. Right.
That's right.
And many don't know that that's who Dr. Clark went to learn what he learned.
Facts. And these were some of the letters. You know, this is Garvey's letter himself. What it means to go back to Africa. What it means. What is he saying? Here is his signature right here. If I can get it out of the archives, y'all can too. I ain't got time to read all of it now, but what he was saying pretty much was that Africa is a way of life. It is a mindset, and then it is an action. I'm just giving the gist of this letter that he wrote. And in order to get to that action, you have to be mobile. You have to do things. You have to be progressive. Here you have, let me see if I can bring this down some. Let me see. Hopefully y'all be able to see. Y'all can see that clear, Brother Tad? Brother Ashe?
Yeah.
Okay. At last the day has come. Negro money, Negro brains, Negro energy must rule the world. Mr. Black Man, what are you doing to ensure a brighter future for your race? Are you investing your money wisely? Are you turning over your profits for you and your children? These are things that Garvey printed, and not just in English, in French, in Spanish. You know, this corporation built factories all over the United States, Canada, West Indies, South and Central America, and Africa. He said factories is the way to go. Let's go forward. Not let's wait and figure it out and vote for it. He met up with Noble Drew Ali. Let me see. Hopefully I can stretch this where it doesn't get too blurry. But right after his return from travel, he sat down and met with Noble Drew Ali to make things happen. Didn't wait. Didn't say because, you know, you believe one thing or I'm a Christian, so we can't work together. That ain't what our people did. Let us put it over. A home in Africa. A notice to the members of the UNIA, all members of the Improvement Association who desire to go to Liberia, West Africa, to settle and help the industrial, commercial, and cultural development of the country, and who intend to sail September, October, December. He was making plans and making it happen, not waiting, not talking about, oh, they live in the Bronx, I can't rock with them. They live in Baltimore, I can't rock with them. It's crazy. We all have the same enemy, the same common enemy. As Brother Taz said, I already know who to put the blame on. The Black Star Line. Be a place of success for the poor man. Put your monies together. If the white man could do it, he said, the Negro can do it. Not telling you to vote your way out of it. No, we did. We did some voting, right? We did some voting. Hold on one second. I don't want to miss that. And here's an actual document. This was what a share of the Black Star Line looked like. This is why I love to go into these libraries and get these articles, and, you know, because back then white people couldn't read. Shout out to Baba Harrow. He'll tell you that in a minute. They couldn't read. And so they used a lot of cartoon caricatures and depictions of how they wanted to describe the time of the day, including how they treated us. You know, we're going to get into some of that too. But Garvey was all over. Here it is in Atlanta, Georgia. They had an event to host Garvey, a pastor. I remember pastors was running from Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. This is in 1917. His wife, let me see if I can make this a little smaller so everybody can see this. Let me see. What did she say? The doll baby type of woman is a thing of the past, and the wide awake woman is forging ahead, prepared for all emergencies and ready to answer any call. Even if it be to face the cannons on the battlefield. Right? This is his wife in her later years. Be not discouraged, Black woman of the world. Be pushed forward regardless of the lack of appreciation shown to you. And that is a fact. When it comes to historical events, you know all the great names of our brothers, but you don't know those sisters' names who made the machine work. Nobody calls their names. Now, see, this is how Garvey did it. My grandmother was a good proponent of this saying, I can show you better than I can tell you. Yep. People want to be attached to what they see and they can touch physically. Remember the movie Malcolm X? Remember the scene when Brother Malcolm, pulls up to the precinct with them brothers and brothers from the nation and demanded to see the brother who was beaten. Remember when the young cat was running behind them and he followed Malcolm and he went into the restaurant and he said, I just want to be a Muslim. And Malcolm said, you don't even know what that is. He said, I don't care. I never seen nothing like that before. I want to be a part of it. We are not visual. We are not visual out here anymore. People, I remember back then, people wanted to join the Guardian Angels because they were visual. People wanted to join the Panthers because they were visual. We ain't visual. You see these brothers out here with swords and firearms. Huh? Let me get a clear picture. Here go Garvey right here on the left side of your screen. Check the firearms. You think these sisters don't got firearms on their waist? You sadly mistaken. This is one of the reasons, family, for those of you who live in New York, this is the reason why the gun laws in New York State are so strict, in particular in the 5 boroughs. Not telling you what I think, I'm telling you what I read in the archives. When they seen all of these black men and women arming themselves to the teeth, you see all of these rifles and you see this? Could you imagine thousands of black men and women walking the streets with these firearms? Look at all the people hanging out the windows. Everybody wanted to be involved. They never seen nothing like that before. Look at the corps of nurses with swords. Some of them have firearms. Huh? Look at our brothers with firearms and weapons. Not hands up, don't damage, shoot. We are not connected with our history. Look at all of these brothers and sisters hanging out of the windows. Huh? They wasn't like on the parkway gyrating yourselves with your nasty tails. Huh? That's why everybody wanted to be a member. And they had allies. Right? Sisters like Maria Stewart, who was writing profusely. If you ever get a chance, let me see if I can expand this. Read this newspaper. A lot of freedmen and free women started their own newspaper. This one was devoted to the anti-slavery and temperance of the country at that time. This is a clip from 1854. There were meetings that were held all throughout the U.S. Here's one in Niagara. I don't have to make this stuff up. This is our history. Here's Ida B. Wells. And what is written on the sash of her sisters? No taxation without representation. No vote, no tax. Now you getting taxed out the wazoo and you running to the polls to get what? Oh, Trump gotta go. Everything that's happening to this country right now, America deserves it for those very photos that I showed you earlier. They deserve it. Our brothers and sisters were working together. Huh? Now, remember that this was Ida B. Wells, an article written in a newspaper about her, because not only did she write about anti-lynching, she also was a private investigator for brothers and sisters who were being incarcerated unjustly. So here's a brother, he writes to her thanking her for getting involved in his case because nobody wanted to listen to him. She wasn't no damn police officer. She went out and investigated. Everybody talks about Brother Malcolm. The relationship his parents had with the Garvey movement was priceless. Because how do I know this? They wrote about it in the Negro World. That's how I know. I remember a lot of people have seen this picture of Brother Malcolm's parents, but not many people know what paper it came from. They wrote about this family when Malcolm's father was killed. And we can move fast. I'm trying to get through this. You go to Adam Clayton Powell. He didn't compromise. He said, I'm not just a congressman for Harlem. I'm the congressman for black people. And we all got to win. He told them, don't shop on 125th Street. They won't hire you. Don't buy, nobody buy nothing. And here y'all can't wait to get on Amazon. Can't wait to order something. You're junkies out here. Sorry, I don't know how that clip got in there. That's for another lecture. Sorry about that. But here it is, newspaper in Toronto. Klan just kidnapping little black girls. Some of y'all want to run to Canada and think you safe there. You better check that history. Men of color, to arms, now or never. Why? Because stuff like this is going on. It's still going on today. Here it is. The chief cluxers tell law enforcement officers just what the Mystic organization proposed to do in Portland. They tell them what to do. Huh? So you don't gotta look. And the disrespect. Here we go. You want to talk about disrespectful? They had a chain of coon chicken joints. Coon chicken. So this is what our people were fighting. This is what they were fighting. Look. Various newspaper articles about coon chicken opening up near you. Coon chicken inn. I don't make this stuff up. I get their words, their articles, so you can see for yourself what's going on. So you only say straight thorough black talk made of nothing. Let's go. Biggest night of all. Coon chicken inn. I mean, this is the type of disrespect. And that's one of the reasons, family, you ever look at these older photographs of the late 1800s, early 1900s, everybody is so sophisticatedly dressed. It's because they wanted to kill the image that they were constantly bombarded by. Things like this. That's why they were always dressed impeccably. And this is a fact. If you go to the news articles of the Chicago Defender, the New Yorker, and others of that time, you can read the interviews of people, what they said. This is how you look at this. Imagine the McDonald's of that day. Coon chicken. Right? Even today, you got Obama fried chicken here in Brooklyn.
Word.
You know, they still got it here. It's still here. It go right here.
Nah, right? It sounds like crown pie. It sounds like crown chicken.
Mm-hmm. They removed this awning, but they kept the blue and white Obama chicken sign on the side. That's off Sutter and Rutland over that way. So, but, you know, we were out here for real. Okay? Fannie Lou Hamer and these four right here, they put themselves on the ballot. Right? Because articles like this, you know, 3,000 will burn. You know, they got a number. They got a number how many of them. Come on and watch it. 5 o'clock, we're going to lynch one. I mean, this is the kind of stuff right out of enslavement, through Reconstruction, up until today that we still dealing with. And we expect to get a different result. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Just like you had the Klan and the police departments then, you got them in there now. Talking about, come on, we're going to have a party tonight. We're going to catch something tonight. But our brothers and sisters, they were arming themselves. Here we go right here. They had to confront these cats from the military. And this is in Chicago after the race riots. Race riots. Huh? We don't go through them. Minnesota, 1919, summer, Red Summer. Y'all remember? Read the history of the Red Summer. Look at this. Forcing black people out of their homes. Huh? After they built everything. This is after enslavement, after fighting a civil war, then enslavement, then trying to rebuild themselves from nothing. And when they did, you got these nasty Urugu dogs who come in and want to steal everything. They can't take it. Even though they had the upper hand for so long. And so they came in and burned down. Ain't that what they did to move?
Yep.
Come on. Come on. Ain't nothing changed. Nothing. This is 1970 in St. Louis, Missouri, where Mike Brown was murdered. Mm-hmm. If you go back years before, here go another Mike Brown laying on the ground with this wicked beast about to plunge at him again with the brick. Come on. This is our history. And you mean to tell me you can't stop shopping for one day? You a sucker. Look at these white folks. They just ran up in there and just took everything. Couldn't take these black people living in these beautiful homes. They couldn't take it. We always been better. But our brothers, they was arming. Look at all these rifles he got around. I can't even count them all. He didn't say hands up, don't shoot. Look at all of these firearms. I don't see no hands up, don't shoot. I don't see none of that. So when people tell you that our history is resistant, nonviolence, that's a damn lie. That's a damn lie. Because they were meeting us with violence. These are neighborhood fights. 1943. We can keep going on and on and on. I'm for real about it. This is what our family looked like in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Huh? Hands up. That's, you see that? They disarmed them. Now the hands up. Not before. Little Africa. You ain't have a little Africa in the U.S. since. Look at our brother. And you can't stop shopping. You so focused on election day? Are you crazy? This is what the scene looked like in Tulsa. You can only get these through these news articles and periodicals. It ain't gonna be in a book. Mobs everywhere. This is factual stuff. Everywhere. And then you had like the battle at Fort Pillow, where our brothers just rained on these crackers. And then here come the Klan, led by Nathan Beth Forrest. And you got the nerve to say you don't want to stop shopping for a day? And you wonder why we suffering? See, white folks honor their own. See, that's why you have the Proud Boys, the Boogaloo Boys, Adam Waffen, and everybody else. The Patriots, the 3 percenters. They honor theirs. We want to turn a blind eye to ours. New Orleans. It don't matter. Tennessee. Wilmington, North Carolina. I can go on and on and on. It don't matter the period. This is in the late 70s. The anti-Klan conference. And we just left the 1800s. We in the late 70s. 1979. Still. And this is when they started pushing this voter stuff to you hard. This is when they started pushing it hard. Because they seen that brothers and sisters was arming themselves against these kind of aggressionist attacks, right? Brothers like Robert F. Williams and others. You know, even this elder. Just arming themselves. So that's when they came in. You know, I'll take it back again. The Harper's Ferry. 1868. You see these brothers with them clubs in their hand, they was ready to come at them. Come at them. I could go through, back, forward, and back again. And then they start pushing it. Here comes the murder of Emmett Till. What happens? They start pushing that voter. How did this get in here? This is Weeksville. Even in Weeksville, we had our own, doing our own thing. Brooklyn. Doing our own thing. Now, here is an article that I found, and I want to get back into the library because I want to do some more research of this. Here is this picture or photograph of brothers and sisters from the Moorish Science Temple, but it says Moorish Zionist Temple. You see that? Y'all see? Can y'all see that?
Of the Moorish Jews.
Writing here.
Of the Moorish Jews, the Moorish Zionist Temple of the Moorish Jews.
That's why I love these articles, because you're not gonna get this in no book. You see the Hebrew flag right here behind them, right here, behind these two gentlemen. So I want to read more about that. I can't wait to get back into these libraries.
And we have an address, 127.
Come on.
West 37th Street, New York.
Come on. What it say? Jews, right? Zionists, Moorish. Okay. I want to find out some more information about that. Maybe our Moorish brothers and sisters could come in and let us know more information on that. But I can't wait to continue that research. But now, when you ask people about election and when black men, for those of you who don't know, were the first to be able to vote, even before white women. And the first black man to vote, the first black person to cast a vote in this country was Alfred Ward, 1867. He places his vote. Here is a cartoon or pictorial of him placing his vote, right? At that time, look what it says. That year in the Reconstruction states, 703,000 blacks and 627,000 whites voted. So there were more blacks voting than there were whites right after enslavement.
Mm-hmm.
Now you know when I tell you the balance of power belongs to you, I just showed you the history of it. So you should always know who Alfred Ward is. If you talk anything about voting in our history, this is the first man to do it. And I think I had another photograph of him, but it really wasn't that clear, so I couldn't use it today. But yeah, so here, like today, you have our brothers out in the street protesting against police brutality. This is in 1938. Same as they are in Philadelphia in 2020 right now. Here you have black people lined up to vote. Ain't nobody got no arms right here, but they lined up to vote. And you see, voting was done in the open. I told you last week, when people placed votes, there were usually street fights that broke out because everybody could see who you voted for. It wasn't always in secret. The Republican Party was considered, the nigger party. That's what it was called. Right? No arms. And here the Klan in front of these brothers and sisters in 1938. No arms no more. Because they pushing the vote to you now. They pushing the vote to you hard.
Bullet
now
on the back.
Here come the marching. Look at this. With signs and stuff. Ain't no arms. It ain't all black. You see the Urugu mixed in here. It ain't all black no more. You see? You see? How they flipped it on you. Now, just a reminder, taking it back to 1893. Here you have the Liberian Senate members. You see these arms? Some of them got arms. Y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
We ain't got arms no more. Right? No more. It's done. Look at this. African American men with guns. Come on. They didn't. This is 1915. I had to take it back so you could see what was happening as we coming into the 50s, 60s, and 70s. They took away them arms. Here's a brother, one of the original Buffalo Soldiers. He got arms. Not pushing no vote. You have a little girl here who she saw her community being armed. She began to mimic that, walking around with a toy gun, I guess you would call it, and putting on a helmet. Our children will mimic that. Now you pushing the vote to them. Back in the days, we would meet in the woods with arms. You see everybody with these knives? Just in case they had to take a head off. Now you meet out in the open where everybody see you. Invite everybody. These brothers are armed right here. They armed. You ain't gonna get nothing no other way. So I say all this to say, and I'm gonna stop this here because there's just a lot that I will have to show you all to go through all of this, but the history is rich. Our history is rich. We did it ourselves. I said on this program many times before, we formed our own political parties. Our own in such a short span of time. We have to be visible to the community. You see, the letter crew, they out there. You see their flags everywhere. They getting involved in the Black Lives Matters and everybody else. They getting their tentacles everywhere. They out there. You see these white aggressionist groups, or as my brother Noel Leader says, these terrorist groups. Shout out to Noel Leader. These terrorist groups, they out here arming themselves. Meanwhile, you are not. You rushing to the polls, putting up stickers. I voted today. Good for you. And you say you following your ancestors? That's not true. So I had to do that comparison so we can see how they begin to change it. It wasn't always that way. And right now, we got to get back to the original. We have to, one, be more visible. Right now, you have the two parties, Democrat, Republican. You got somebody running on the Green Party and somebody running on the Libertarian Party, but they don't outreach to us. I haven't seen anybody from the Democratic Party come over here and ask me nothing. Nothing. Anybody ask y'all? I don't. No. Y'all already told me. You know, ain't nobody.
Did you vote yet?
You see what I'm saying? And take the census.
Yeah.
And take the census. And whether you agree or disagree with Ice Cube, yeah, they should come to you. Not the other way around. Y'all out there on lines. Can't wait to give them you because you're so scared. Let it fall if it should fall. If Trump is the man to get it done for them, go ahead. They deserve it. We know how to come out of suffering. It's nothing new to us. We've been suffering. Like Brother Taz said, he had four apartments occupied in a building that he could remember, and they used the great-grandmother phone. Everybody. That's what he said. We know how to, come on, we know how to make it work. So stop it.
I still remember the phone number.
You better.
First one.
Run it off, Tad. Run it off. What's that number, Tad?
857-6141. That's back when on the 1-2.
Oh God.
That's before we separate all these other there. Little black movie. But I mean,
for real.
I mean, we laugh this, but it's so real because we don't understand how simple it is. You know, like you said, the children were imitating what they saw the adults do. The adults were armed, so the children are armed. They understood the importance of firearm safety. Like me, for example, I've taken my children to the range before. They understand the importance of firearm safety. You know, but when we don't teach our children about firearm safety and exercise your Second Amendment right, they learn the wrong way. And that's why you got all these young people out here with firearms just pointing at each other, thinking it's a video game, because nobody is teaching them the responsibility that comes with carrying or even being in the vicinity of a firearm. And this is important because we're just teaching our children to be docile. Like you said, did you vote? Get your sticker, display it, put it on Facebook, and you've done your duty for your people. And it's so much deeper than that because our people, I mean, we're politically confused. We don't even understand that the presidents are always selected and not elected. And I think we tell people that every election season. Every time it's time for presidential election, I say, yo, you go vote the senator, the mayor, the governor, your councilman, your alderman, your assemblyman, your commissioner. You vote for the dog catcher, but you cannot vote for the president. Please be clear. You'll have a popular vote, but they're already selected by the Electoral College. That's who decides. And they're picked by the people that you vote in, but you don't even know what kind of backdoor deal they're making to form the Electoral College in your community, in your state. So this rabbit holes go deep. It's not too deep, but our folks don't even see that it's a rabbit hole. You know, I mean, we saw it with, what was that, Bush and Gore. When Al Gore had the popular vote, but Bush won, and everybody was like, oh, no, Bush stole the election. He didn't steal the election. Al Gore won the popular vote, George Bush won the electoral college, and it's that simple because that's all that matters. I remember as a kid, I asked my grandmother. I said, "Grandma, what happens if people pick the president and not the vice president? What if they don't vote for the vice president?" She said, "Well, it don't work like that because it comes as a set. You get one, you definitely gonna get the other." And I was like, and in my young mind, it didn't sound like it made sense. Like maybe I don't like the vice president, but I like the president. But I learned that they come as a set. And then as I started learning a little more and more about the political process, that's when I learned who the Electoral College was and that they picked the president and no one else. So, you know, I mean, our folks are still confused. And that's why it's so important that we have political conversations. And there's no more civics in school. People don't even know how politics work to even run the community for us to properly reestablish our community. But I digress.
Now you right, brother. You right. And a shout out to brother Brian Semo Tap in the building. Community cop in the building. I see the history hitman in there.
I'm about to say, shout out to our big bro Mike Graves in the house.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Dr. Filet in the queue. But yes, so you know, it's important that we really understand our history and not let everybody tell us our history. You know, I know a lot of us are bookworms, and that's a good thing. But you have to really start to begin to read some of these articles that were printed by our people so you can get a true understanding of where their mindset was at that time. And let me just share something real quick, something that I skimmed over because I had it for another lecture. Sorry. But this was a lecture that I did on white feminism and feminism in general. And I have to tell you, brother, some things off air that I found that some people might find disturbing about the wife of one said great leader and her allegiance to the feminist group. But anyway, a lot of I digress. You know, a lot of people talk about Margaret Sanger and her being the mother of eugenics. Well, here is the grandmother of eugenics. She is the great granddaughter of Lyman Beecher, who is the father of Harriet Beecher. And here she, in this article, um, she talks about the role of white women and what they want and what they expect. She even talk about the sexual perversion, if you will, of some women of society at that time. And you need to study more about Charlotte Perkins Gilman. But here, you know, we wear masks today. They did it back then. You know, nothing is different. You have to ask yourselves, why do we keep doing these same things over and over again? They do it because it works. They do it because nobody questions. And most people do not. And so that's why, thankfully, you have programs like Thorough Black Talk. We can give it to you and break it down for you and continue to watch Community Cop, which is on YouTube every week. Follow their page. And of course, you got to follow Dr. Filet, which is every Saturday evening at 10:30. And beginning next week, Brother Ray, I know you're still watching. If you can, just confirm, either you or Brother Mike, that the Professor William Mackey Africans Helping African Study Group will begin again next Wednesday. I just want to make sure that's correct. Shout out to Sister Veronica and the crew. Brother Gary, shout out to you. Sister Vera, Sister Marie, shout out to you. Always, Sister Carol, shout out to you. Brother Luke, shout out to you. It was a pleasure dialoguing with you earlier tonight on the podcast, on the broadcast we did with Dr. Filet. But yeah, so now as you go forward, family, remember, refrain from shopping on Monday. I just gave you a quick history as fast as I could move through as much history as I possibly could, because believe it or not, I have like over 4,000 slides of articles and periodicals to go through. And there's no way in hell we could go through all of those. So I kept going back and forward just so you can see that nothing has changed. And as our brothers and sisters who are up in arms in Philadelphia, please hold on to yourselves. Do not let any others infiltrate you, because they're going to take it over, tone it down, and make you the aggressor, right? In this whole situation, they're already saying that the brother who had a butter knife was the aggressor, even though you have different mechanisms to bring down someone who has a knife, right? You got nets, you got rubber bullets, you got all of that kind of stuff. None of these options were used during this takedown of this brother. But my brother Ashe, before we move on, anything you want to say about the presentation, or should we move on?
Nah, the presentation was spectacular. I mean, I was sitting back in silence because I was just learning so much, you know. So, but that's important, you know, and I'm glad you touched on that, because like a lot of us don't go to the library and things of that nature. You know, a lot of us rely on Google, you know, but it's a feeling behind that. When you actually go into the library, you're surrounded by all of these books, all of this wealth of information, you know, and then you have to do the work yourself to go and find these articles and you know, find these passages in the books and things of that nature. It's a feeling behind that you get that you don't get from Googling and getting an instant gratification. You know, when you actually go in a library, it's a journey for you to actually do that. And I remember back in the days, you know, you weren't getting no education unless you had a library card. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had to have a library card. And, you know, if you ain't had no library card, you basically just relying on your school week to give you the education that you need. But when school would tell you, you got to do an essay or you got to write a paper or something like that, you need a library card. You needed to do it on your own because you couldn't go on Wikipedia back in the days and all of that to write your essay. You had to actually go and rent a book out, you know, and it's a special feeling behind that, you know, when it comes to like studying and, you know, just knowing our history, knowing the information and things of that nature and being able to pass it forward that a lot of us are missing out on. You know, so we really don't want to skip the journey, but you know, Sister Keisha, you definitely bring it back, and you know, I want to say, like, I know we got a couple minutes left. I miss bringing in the fam. You know what I'm saying? We do have the line. You know, if any brothers or sisters want to call, we got about 15 minutes left. If y'all want to give us a call, get up in here in a conversation about you know, the presentation or the voting things. Honestly, I'm just sick of hearing politics, honestly, man. Like I said, hood politics, you know, community politics. Because most of these people out here that's voting, and like Keisha said, they got their stickers or they pins and they say, I voted early. Ask them, why did you vote? Like, what outcome, what's the end goal besides getting Trump out of office? Because we know everybody gonna say, oh, we got to get Trump out of office, but what did you vote for? Like, what change is gonna happen that you want to see, which is the reason why you voted? If you ask them that, most people are gonna be silent because they don't even actually know the policies of the person they voted for. Most people vote emotionally. We vote because we don't like this person, or this person seemed nicer than the other person, or he looked like a racist. You know what I'm saying? And he got an accent, sound like a down south racist Bama or something like that. And this person sound better. This is why we vote. We vote off of the looks and what it sound like. You know, and I'm getting a call right now, so I'm gonna check it in a second. But this is how it is, man. We gotta really stop that, man. We got to really look at it. If you are going to vote, yo, go and check the policies, man, because most of these people, they don't even know what the hell they vote for. So that's why I like, if you're going to vote, I mean, start politics on a hood level, on a community level, man. Because you know what I say? It's funny, I always say on the show that I don't like politics and I don't vote and things of that nature, right? But politics is life. If you think about it, politics is your life. And I'm not talking about politics as in these politicians or this dirty, filthy system that we live in. I'm talking about, like I said, I know it sounds weird to some of your hood politics, but I'm talking about like how you treat and deal and interact with the people in your community. That's politics. That's fundamental politics. So if you can't interact and engage with the people in your community, you can't be in politics, and you can't talk. You can't even skip a level and go into politics when it comes to the presidency and local politicians and things of that nature, because you skipping a level. You know, it's a fundamental thing. So if you want to learn politics, that's what I would say. Start in your community. Start with the people you see on a daily basis. The things that you need in your community. You know what I'm saying? The things that you don't need. Like we said, managing, caring for our community, not having to call the police every 2 seconds. We could have conflict resolution ourselves. That's all politics, fam. You know, so let's get on that level and start on a minuscule level and work our way. It's not even a minuscule. That's the wrong word to say it, man, because honestly, that's the more important level. You know, the things that we deal with in our community. So, but besides that, man, honestly, I can't wait to this November 3rd to be over, man. I'm just sick of hearing this all the goddamn time. And then after they voted in, you still ain't gonna hear the end of it, because now they're gonna talk about the transition. It's gonna be a scandal with Trump not wanting to give up, or if he win, they're gonna talk about 4 more years of him. It's gonna be all over the papers. Like, it's a circus, man. So I'm really over it. You know, I'm just ready to start taking control of our communities, man. You know, like this is important. The video that we shared, I know we talking about it earlier from Philly and all of that, but this is a reason why the politics in a community is necessary, fam. Because I saw a meme, and it's a meme going around, and we'll get off the mic with that, but it's a meme, and I don't know if y'all saw it, but they got 2 pictures, right? And it looks like they side by side, and it looks like the same exact picture. And it looks like it's a picture of a hood, like somebody in a neighborhood, like a black community. And it say the hood before politics. I mean, no, it say the hood before voting and the hood after voting. And it's the same exact picture. You know what I'm saying? It's the same picture. So what the hell is really going to change, fam? You know, I mean, besides people hopelessly just being hopeless romantics when they go in these goddamn polls, you know, and thinking that something is really going to change. Nothing is going to change, fam, until we start taking control of our politics. And, you know, politics starts in the mind as well, man, you know. So when we talk about what Keisha showed when it comes to Garvey, Pan-Africanism, or whatever you want to call it, you know, that's where politics start. Finding your identity with who you are, your place in this world, how people engage with you, how you engage with people as an African. That's where politics start. And the problem is people learn politics through a book and through law school instead of through nature. People learn politics by going to these colleges and these universities instead of studying in a community, you know, or studying in a village, like somebody in the comment section said. We used to have a village, like Pat said back in the days. That was politics. You know, so if it ain't that kind of politics, don't even talk to me about it, fam. I mean, I'm listening, I'm learning from Keisha, but maybe that's my young side. But honestly, man, I'm about tangibles. You know what I'm saying? I'm about realistic goals that we can make happen, that we can make change. And the reason why is because I want my life to be better. You know, like, I'm not complacent. I'm not happy with the situation, our neighborhoods, how we get treated, things of that nature. I want my life to be better. And I know that my life is not going to get better on a simple level by me going in the goddamn polls and voting for who's going to be a president. It's not going to be better. We've seen it time and time and time and time again. Now, if you want to talk about the local level, there's potential with that, but it's not potential in voting. It's potential in accountability. Because after you vote that person in on the local level, it's the same thing. These people out here, they try to switch on you, It's like you stupid and say, oh, well, you got to vote. You're not voting. You got to vote on a local level. That's what counts. The local level counts. Like, that's what everybody say, right? But it's the same goddamn thing, because they'll go out there and vote for the same person that sound good and look good without knowing their policies. And then after they vote, they ain't showing up at these goddamn politicians or councilmen's doorsteps or offices to make sure that, yo, I voted you in, you won. Now we got to make sure that you're going to do what you said. How often do you see that? Or do you see people just go to the poll, vote somebody in, and wash their hands like, oh, I did it. Oh, it didn't come true. What the person said they was going to do, they didn't do it. So now we got to wait till the next 4 years and we just vote for somebody else. So this is why I'm done. Like, I'm really over it, man. Like, I don't even like talking about it, yo. So I just like building with the family, man. So that's why I was saying, we miss hearing the family come on. We definitely appreciate everybody that supports us. YouTube, Facebook, even on StreamYard sometimes when y'all get up in here. But we about building with the people, man. We about really being in the community and face-to-face interactions, man, because there's only but so much we could say over the internet anyway, and some people's lives is based on the goddamn internet. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's based on that. Like, I really can't figure it out, like, I step off of this is virtual reality. This is not the real reality, man. Like, get off your couch, off your armchair, and stop being that armchair revolutionary and get into the real world, the real reality. Me, Tad, Keisha, Ashe, we do real things. This ain't to brag or nothing like that. It's really to inspire people, man. Like, because we can't do everything. And like Keisha said too, even when we study like our greats, you can't do everything. Even if you were great, you got to outsource. You got to be able to utilize people and their gifts and their talents. And a lot of people that engage with this voting thing, they don't know how to outsource or anything like that because they so used to putting all the responsibility on the person they voting for. So it's a scapegoat for them. So, I mean, like I said, man, I'm ready to move forward. I'm tired of, because right now this voting thing, man, it really has, the attention of Black people. It really has our attention, and our attention honestly shouldn't even be there, man. It should be somewhere else. Like Keisha said, Black Solidarity Day. Why is more people talking about voting in the election season than talking about Black Solidarity Day or something else, even if we make up a new goddamn holiday? Like, there's way more beneficial things that we could do. Even when you voting for a Democrat or a Republican, we still don't got a goddamn Black-only political party. If everybody's sick of this and Ice Cube and all these people saying, oh, they got to pay attention to us, why don't we just separate? Do our own goddamn thing. So when we ready to do that, then you're going to see me down with the polls and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But, otherwise, man, I'm in these streets, man. So holla at me.
You true to it is. True to it. How you are, Ashe, all the time. I love it. We still got that caller on the line, or should we keep pressing?
We got 5 minutes. Y'all could call back in. Somebody left a voicemail. I was talking, so I couldn't answer it. But
we don't answer voicemails, y'all. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Call back in. We got a couple minutes left, but we
don't answer. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. So don't be leaving no voicemail because we ain't answering y'all. But as my brother said, and as I agree, we have to do for self. We have to begin where we are, and you have to be active. You can't just sit and play, mental masturbation with your thumbs on social media. That's just not going to work. You got to be active where you are. Brother Mike Gray say yes, he will be lecturing next Wednesday on 103 Quincy Street on self-identity. That's his lecture, self-identity. Next week, I'll be in the building. hopefully, God willing, I will be there. Hold on, I think Ashe got a call before we roll up out of here. You got it, Ashe?
We got that caller on the line. Peace,
Okay.
Thorough Black Talk. State your name. Where you calling from?
Peace. This brother Luke K, aka brother Emo Stuff.
Yeah.
What's up, brother? How you feeling?
All right, peace. I'm calling from Philly.
All right. Philly in the house. What's the word, brother?
Everything's everything. I just want to let y'all know y'all hitting the nail on the head. Y'all hitting it hard. I just want to send out much love, much appreciation. Send out good vibrations, and good energy. And just wanted to follow up and touch base on that electoral college piece. That's so important. People understand the name of the game and the nature of politics. And so political science is of the utmost importance. And people need to get educated and really figure out what's going on out here. All right, peace to the guys.
Peace, my brother. Thanks for calling.
Stay safe out there, brother Luke, in Philly. Hold your head and try to, organize with some people where you at to be more mobile, be more active. Believe it or not, people will follow you once they begin to see what you're putting forth. Ain't nobody sitting here trying to tell y'all to do something that we ourselves have not done or are not doing. And so if we could do it, you could do it wherever you at. We can't wait to talk to you again next week. Hopefully we'll have a great surprise guest. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna put her on the spot tonight. How about that? How about if I do that, Ashe? Huh? Should we go Brooklyn style? That's what we should do. All right, Dr. Filet, because it is, we just passed the anniversary of MWM. And as I said on her program earlier this week, you could say what you want, but for all of the women who were there that day, we received our marching orders from Winnie Mandela. I didn't take that lightly. I'm not trying to one up on anything, but when you get instructions from Winnie Mandela, live and direct, that's serious business. And I took that very seriously. And from that day until now, what you see before you, I kept my promise. And I'm still keeping my promise to Winnie Mandela. I meant what I said. So again, family, we love you. We thank you for tuning in every week with us. We can't wait to see you next week. It's going to be more flames, more fire, more info, more history. And we bringing it to you straight Brooklyn style, my brothers.
All right. For those who tuned in, we want to thank y'all. Hopefully you were inspired. Just turn to God and inspire others. And please, as much as you encourage for people to exercise their 15th Amendment right to vote, also encourage them to exercise their Second Amendment right to bear arms. All right. We all we got. We're in charge of our own self and hate. We're in charge of our own self and safety and our health. Sister Keisha, I'm so exhausted right now. You know what I'm saying?
You and me both. And I gotta get out here and make a run. So yeah. So I feel you.
So family, y'all stay up, stay blessed, stay true. And remember, no matter how hard things may seem right now, there's always better days ahead. Peace. Brother Ashe.
Yeah, man. Before I go, I gotta give a shout out to Make Manifest. Where Kafaru at? I know he hating.
Yeah.
The rhino.
The Black Rhino.
Don't hate too much, Kafaru. I could get you one, all right? But shout out to Make Manifest on the threads. Make Manifest is one of the businesses on Tompkins Ave out here in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. Formerly Tompkins Ave, now known as Black Girl Magic Street. That's what we nicknamed it, man. But yeah, shout out to Make Manifest. It's the Aisha. Big up yourself. We got to pull y'all in. Matter of fact, we're going to get them on the show. And some of these businesses that I'm helping out, we're going to get them on the show so y'all can know. Because y'all can shop online too as well. But y'all can follow them, Instagram, Make Manifest. They got a website. Dope vibes, man. Shout out to the family. But yeah, man, yo, A lot of jewels will drop. Please make sure you go watch the replay of this. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. Share the link with a friend. You know, just because we ending the show right now don't mean the knowledge, the cipher can't continue. Share this link. Send it, text message it, DM it to whoever you need to. Let's get this information out. Let's get active. And let's better our lives, family. I know y'all tired. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to be happy. We fighting. We warriors. But we doing this so we can lay up, chill, get fly. Get my fly garb, you know what I'm saying? Eat right, be healthy, and live life, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's really about, fam. So let's not lose sight of the vision. You know, always remember, true courage is knowing how to suffer, and the battlefield is where you stand. It's your brother Ashe SJ signing out.
We out, y'all. Much love and respect to our brothers and sisters in Nigeria. Stay strong. Get your mind right. Hold your heads. We out here, yo. We leaving. Good night.
Yeah.